released from their chains and get to just run the lobby.
Yeah, I'll be real. I think Pablo Wingu and Bevies, if they just were uncon at the spot, I think they just win Grand like, so easily.
Yeah.
Like I think it would like be like a 300-point blowout. Like I'm not even kidding. Like they played 2 games and they had a 50-point lead, and like they have just looked really good this season. Like I just think they just win Grands realistically.
I feel like Shakos and Skydiving are just plot armor for like the rest of EU. If they're not in the lobby, everyone else is in trouble.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But look, the fight will begin again, and once again it just looks like Skydoom and Shakos just have the better drops, and so they will take Bevies down without really much of a chance for him to respond. Both of them have shotguns. There's just not much Pablo Wingu can do, yeah. That's it.
I'm just wondering, like, between these players, between the 2 days, nothing really seems like it's changed so much so for Pablo and Bevies.
All that could have changed is just them having better drops.
Yeah.
I'm sure last night they just did drop spot practice for hours and hours, but ultimately...
Need a few more hours.
Nothing's clicking. Nothing's clicking. They need that God drop map, but they don't seem to have it.
Well, with Thomas trouble in that last game, you were saying, Levin, that it's kind of similar to what we saw before. I think the biggest difference for me was just seeing them so down bad on Surge, not even being able to clutch it after the fact. That was the only non-normal thing, at least with this duo, in terms of the struggles we see for them game after game.
Yeah, I think historically they've always been able to be better on that front. But yesterday, that looked like a standard game for them yesterday, where they're just behind on things, struggling with Surge, and just can't find anything out of it. And that's tough to see, because I think you look at how talented these guys are, and they're, to me, the 2 best players in the world of Fortnite to never win an FNCS, like easily. And so, hey, we'll see whether or not things start to click for them as the day goes on, but I think what we've seen overall this season is that many of the best teams in EU were struggling to really figure things out.
Hey, this is now statistically one of the best teams, and they're not struggling whatsoever. Misha, Tini, looking good.
Another new drop for them. Well, not new, they landed here actually, I think, in one of the games yesterday, but new on the day, right? Obviously this game landing elsewhere, and a similar strat to what we saw yesterday, where they are just very much camping this tower. And again, it's like, they will just sit here and wait for someone to walk in. Props to them. Hopefully we tune in back with them when somebody's walking in.
We'll check it out across the map. Jakey Archie this time. Oh, Jakey, the magnet, and the Archie reboot.
Again, this is just not what I was expecting. If you told me that Archie and Jakey fan were going to be giving Mr. Savage and Video problems, I would not have believed you. This is crushing for me. These are 2 of the biggest fan favorites. Is Archie and Mr. Savage. Like, my heart's torn it.
You want both to do well?
Yeah.
In this game, neither might if Roban has his way. Boxed up is Jakey down below. This is going to be tough. Hunt down 2, and Archie doing a good job of actually getting some cover fire down. This fight will last just a little bit. They got Zora next to him, so they'll be able to keep moving. Another right side, north-ish type situation looming in the distant future. Now we're getting close to personal. Roban breaching through these walls, trying to get it done. He's going to take him. But we're on 2 fronts. I mean, I feel like Archie and Jakey is going to make a move soon and hit a nice shot to at least stop the momentum these guys clearly have.
I mean, they probably weren't ready and prepared for this fight, but they just have to make it happen. And a nice peek from Archie. Misses that shot though, and that will cost him. He could have maybe survived. Jakey fan went down, but if Archie had been able to make it a 1v1, there was always going to be some element of hope, but Roban and Axels get the job done, like you said they would. They are so confident in those types of fights.
If you never check them, they just keep building so much momentum. You get out-pressured. There's nothing you can really do. It's really fun to watch that duo fight. Misha and Tini, we missed the surprise jumper. No elims right now. No mats either. They're kind of all in for this strat. And if it doesn't work out, how do you bring your game back from here? I mean, there's so many teams. You saw that map update around Brutal Bastion. Loot's basically gone at this point. I still know it. Somehow these guys are going to get like top 3.
I think we know how, man. They're just going to fight. Like, what more can they do? They just gotta fight.
How do you fight with no mats?
They ain't got the loot. They just gotta fight. Jump in box. You know what I'm saying? Like,
True.
that's all they can do.
Let's check out and see if their stealth roll was good.
Yeah, so they did try to sneak, but apparently it didn't work, I'm guessing, because they ain't got their limbs. Let's look. He was alert. Yarko was aware. He's already had some beef with them in the past. I'm sure every building he enters now, he just knows there's a chance Misha and Tini could be there.
Gotta have anti-Misha Tini tech. No more doors, break walls only.
Break walls.
Every building across the whole map, all of EU. How many doors were open? I need to see the stat. It better be 0.
Yeah. Can't take any chances with those guys around you, right?
Definitely. Different game entirely. I feel like every time you tune in with Swizzy and Putrick, I feel like I'm watching Chapter 2 all over again.
Well, yeah, Swizzy's very familiar with the Citadel, right? East Atlante with Shimoki. And so very much should understand Surge. And I think that's been part of why they've been successful, because he does understand Surge from this area of the map. Has a good grip on it.
Thomas actually frantically just trying to get into the next zone. They're looking to see if they can bring this day back from the shambles that was game number 1. Fight starting already. Thomas is trying to track his way through it. But no mas for now. He's gonna just hit that reset button, reload up, and try again another time.
I think the big thing that I hope today is much different from this duo is their fighting power. There was too many times where we saw them in fights that you typically expect Thomas HD and Malabuka to win, and they just didn't quite have enough to get it done. And so I hope today we can see them back to their winning ways when it comes to fights.
Bare knuckle brawl for Chicho there. I mean, whoever he's fighting, both of them like, all right, let's just spray the whole mag. Whoever gets more tags, gets more tags.
I mean, when you're looking for Surge, you know.
It makes sense. I was about to say like Chicho won, but his opponent's hitting after the bell.
Always gotta get the last laugh.
At the assembly, everyone's doing a clap, you know? You want to get that last one in. 20 minutes later, you're still here.
Yeah.
Across the room.
Nobody wants to be the person that doesn't get a last clap, right?
It's true. Difference for the majority of EU right now. I mean, you saw a lot more composure in that first game because a lot of people got to VOD review and check out those north zones, right? Very different from day 1, but how is experience for a lot of the teams on the Shattered Slab side of things? On the Citadel. These end games too can be a little bit finicky. I know the playground doesn't look white in total in terms of terrain, but there still are many big cliffs. There's a big moat around that Citadel as well. I mean, there's a lot of terrain that you will not expect in this type of end game.
I'm looking at Cammy here, and just a moment ago he was up by his cache, and I think that's been one of the keys to Cammy and City's success, their ability to get to their caches much sooner than other players and really just lock it down, not even have to worry about a team really contesting them for it.
I feel like in that last game, they were locked in 100%, had the caches, had the good position. This game, they're activated. Like, they just let, I feel like, Kiri and Ping, they get up top, weren't as vigilant for someone to have that type of height take. This time, completely aware what's gonna be going on around them. No chance they lose height or a game like that again.
I think the main problem with that last game, man, is just they ran out of steam. They didn't have the mats. When you hold height from that early on, and you don't quite get enough of the loot from any limbs you get, you're just going to run out of mats by last moving zone. It is just a foregone conclusion. Your only hope is that the players beneath you have also run out of mats, which in their case didn't quite happen. But I really like that play from them. I think ultimately it was the right idea behind that game plan. And so if Seti and Cammy are going to keep on coming in with the right strategies, maybe Miniminers onto something. Maybe they are going to be the team that sneaks up and eventually walks away with the whole thing. Jakey and Nathan, unfortunately, much similar fortune to them going down early on in this game. Not quite off spawn, but still not going to be making it past this third zone.
Kali Fashoki is going to be able to just eat good in terms of getting some extra metal, siphon mats, some points on the board. Escort Trippin, meanwhile, still just hitchhiking across the map, base to base. Up inside the jungle once more. And this team's been very interesting. I feel like, you know, depending on the game, they look to be completely on the same page, locked in, moving really well, or they're just climbing back from a monstrous like gap between them and everyone else in Surge. I'm not sure if it's zones that have to do with it, but the day one was a bit unorthodox with where they had to go. Can only hope for better games on day two. Put aside Snazy, put aside one of the coolest clutches we saw in day number one for the Victory Royale. He wants to keep that momentum going, but we need some consistency from these guys now. It can't just always be a flashy play outside of Glacier. Need some hard-hitting strats that work well for them game after game.
Yeah, 100%. And I think they'll very much know that. I'm hearing though, Shio, that we had a sneaky beaky play that we missed out on, so we're gonna send it to Taco to update us on that. What happened, Taco?
That's right, Levin. It's been the battle of the north here over at the mountains of Brutal Bastion. DKS and Voxy with the perfectly planned surprise attack here onto Svi. He was trying to acquire surge tag damage for Svi and Vacant duo pairings, but instead it's going to be a forced retreat, but the wind tunnel interruption on both of them. Vacant with the immediate backup to push DKS and Voxy further down the mountain and away from being able to actually finalize that elimination onto Svi. However, that puts V and Vacant in a really awkward position because now they have to rotate. Now they have to look for a different sort of surge strategy if they want to find themselves. So it's a launch pad out, heading further north, looking to travel dead side and see what they can do.
Shout out to Svi for being able to get out of that one alive, but how on earth did he not notice them climbing up that massive mountain? Like, my brother, you gotta be scanning beneath you at least every once in a while. Like, he had no clue they were up there. My oh my.
He's got some like crisps in one hand, other hand's on the mouse looking at people flying.
He was chilling. He was chilling up there. This is what I want to see though, Shia. Look who's up on the Rift Island. One of the first times we've seen them really fight for the flag. Malibuka and Thomas clearly want to change their fortunes today.
4 teams now, 5 coming in very soon. And yeah, the last time we saw them on top of this island, they're on top of the house. Looking like they were relaxed kings, yeah?
I think we got 7 on it.
7?
I think that's like two different sets of arrows landing on it as well.
I'm not sure if I'm hearing brick falling or rifts popping now.
Oh man.
But more teams are on the way. There's another glide. 8 teams!
I said I wanted to see 10. I said I wanted to see 10.
No way.
I've got to do the maths on this. I think someone's been, okay, the prototype thing I think are below, but there's a lot of people up there.
They're just waiting. It's like a fuse.
Yeah, so the thing you often see, right, when there's a bunch of teams up there, like you'll get this in like the last qualifying game for like a cash cup, right? So if it's like the round 1 of a cash cup, or even if it's like maybe like round 2 of an FNCS qualifier, last games you'll often see like a bunch of teams on there, but when they realize there's too many, they'll just drop off, right? Because it's like, there's just no point. Like, we ain't got the slurps to outhill people. Let's just drop down. So I'm expecting at some point a lot of these guys will drop off, but people are staying right now.
7 teams so far, I think.
Wow.
Almost 8.
That's crazy.
9.
Oh my goodness.
Glorifier's got to give up height.
What am I
They
seeing?
weren't expecting. Where do they even go? There's no room. People in Rumble Ruins are just looking and like, listen, we can't really shoot anyone down here. If we don't have an angle towards the top of Rift Island, we gotta just rift up and see if we can get surge ourselves in a box fight. No one's going down yet either. Misha, Teeny, you're asking, you know, I guess I was asking, how do they switch up their game, just box fight? This is the best fight to be a part of.
Yeah,
10 different teams?
This is a fight they would love to be a part of, right?
They're moving.
Should I get in? I said get in box, but I didn't think they'd be so direct about it. Look at this.
What?
What am I seeing?
He gets hit for 160, still keeps moving forward. Misha does not care. And somehow Teeny's still alive. They did this in front of 10 other teams, 4 of which are on their layer. That shouldn't be possible. Again, dropped down, but got to pop the slurp, so Misha is looking healthy. Malibuka activated too. I think that's Teeny trying to run away. Not today, not this time. And now you can see the confidence rolling through. Breacher switch up. Malibuka's looking strong.
Very strong. And and a big change in pace. I'll love to get the update on their surge situation, right? It looks and feels like they've done a lot more damage this game than they have in others. Misha finally getting taken out there by Blurfire and Skrill. So, yeah, their aggression finally being punished.
Still, in terms of recuperating what they've invested over here on this island, you got to remember, they were the high ground team. They were about 5 stories up. They used a lot of mats to claim their spot over here. Everything you see up top is Skrill and Blur. I think half on mats for each player. They got to find a way to come back.
Yeah, this is most definitely qualifies as an island party for sure. What we have seen in this game.
Oh man, Podosai, they didn't jump in the pool, Evan, like everyone else. These guys were...
But you know what? When you go to a party, there's always them guys that are just standing in the corner.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to start dancing or getting involved. They just stand at the side of the room.
On their phone, no one knows I'm in the FNCS Grand Final.
Then the guys that open up their phones and scrolling through the weather app and stuff, and trying to look busy. That's what these
Open
guys
the camera, close the camera.
Oh man.
Podosai's gotta just get the rhythm, rock with the music now. It's time to really party.
You see, they pop the slurps, and
Yeah.
they're popping slurps out here. I want to see them just jump in the box, right? Like, you ain't getting tags from here, my friend. There's plenty of players for you to jump in on, and plenty of players on the island that need to also jump in. It's a win-win situation. Let's all just fight. I'm down.
Here it goes, Podosai moving in. First Elam down, second takes 2 shots.
Get in. That's what I want to see. 2 teams desperately needing surge. Let's just fight. Forget all the long talk. Just fight. 2 shots, that's all it took.
Basket down, now these guys are having fun. It still seems like there's 86 teams on this island. Everyone else is hiding way on edge zones. Some people below. Inside Rumble Ruins. Once again, though, I feel like confidence is back. Thomas taking long-range shots. And while everyone looks good, the rest of the lobby is still kind of activating on their own. Chulex still finding a few eliminations. And at the same time, Vico trying to climb up the ranks again. He gets his own too. Chicho finally down though, so they're trading back and forth on the other side of the map. Traxxer maybe taking a little bit of damage from Surge. I'm not sure what it is, but he's in the box right ahead. Malubuka does hear that. He has the breacher. I mean, if he's looking confident, I feel like Malubuka pushes that fight.
I mean, you'd think so. Maybe again, just cautious and wary of how many teams are here with them. And as much as the island's been crazy, all these players rotating from the Rumble Ruin side. This is very much the congested side of the zone if you couldn't figure that out for yourself. And we're seeing the effects of it. Players dancing around each other, just trying to get tags along the way, fighting along the way. Swizzy finally finding some mud, and that will just allow them to slide in just a bit quicker. But still very much behind so many different teams, and gonna even look to take shots at some of these teams. Anchor's gonna be his next victim.
I'm watching a chapter 4 season 3 trailer. Like this is crazy. Sliding with mud, moving in. Swizzy's good. This is really important for them. Just to get past this point, they have to hold on to that lead. 50 points becomes 60 points, becomes 70. Another big max rotate for them to use and move with. But they know everyone's gonna be landing right beside them.
Yeah, and it's so difficult for those teams. Slove and Asa way on the other side of the zone where it isn't as congested, and so just going for some box fight plays. Eventually then getting caught in the storm and still looking to fight. But that once again plays right into their hands. Artists falling in their sights.
They're part of the pack that has to make that big rotate. No one's even on that left side, except for, like I said, Ikemi. I don't even need to see him, but
Yeah, zone pulling southeast kind of just puts them and the whole lobby in between where they need to go. So they're gonna have to get creative on this rotate, especially with the mats Slove's working with. They're gonna have to get real lucky with the timings. But you can see him making it work so far. And it's actually happening for them. Slove barely having to use many builds. Finally starting to run into a bit of trouble. The players ahead of them looking back, and yeah. It was just a matter of time until somebody got a big tag on. But Asa's clearing the way.
there was a big brick drop just right beside him. Missed it as he dropped down. It's slightly further back, 3 builds.
Props to Asa, because he made that rotation work even with the minimal amount they had to work with.
It's huge. Might have to just still move again. I think the best thing they can hope for maybe is a bounce back.
I think we get a pullback.
You think so?
I think we get, but we always get pullbacks on the 8th zone.
I feel like we go even further southeast.
It's going north. It's going north. I know it's going north. I've read the script. I've seen it too many times, Shai. I've seen it way too many times. We always get that 8th zone pullback, it feels like. And that will save some of those teams we just saw rotating in, struggling, right? It'll give them an extra minute to breathe and think as they path their next rotation out. For the teams all the way on the other side of the zone, the Kylies, the Fastrokis, they start to make their move, but they have a lot more space to work with.
Everyone else is thinking, taking their time, stressed about the box beside them. Anyone who had really good position is to keeping that position. You see all the way on the bottom side, people making big curves. From the west side all the way to the east around him, it's Axeforce Roban. I'm really liking this rotate.
Yeah, for sure. It puts him in a good spot for when the 8th zone plays out to be in the dead side of the zone.
Ooh, but Huddy focusing on him. One team can make the difference if they're locked onto your sights, and they have no one else to really look at. So I feel like Roban gets shot again, but now they have to move too. So them getting in the zone gives the Axeforce a little bit of time to get in the zone too. Still dangerous teams beside him.
Yeah, and having to use the brick and metal he has left. There's some wood here for him to farm, but people already farmed it down to just one hit, so we won't even bother to knock down that tree.
Distance from Axeforce and Roban. I mean, Anasa might just cut him off on the bottom right, but put some walls down. Meanwhile, on the left, where there's still a few knocks going through and through, Karmi's down. Shaco's confident position again. They tried for height one time. Looks like they're gonna just hold on to it for now. Not in a dominant way, but this might just be their lair.
Yeah, again, just not looking necessarily to dominate height.
Yeah.
To play on these high layers where there isn't going to be anyone on their layer to give them problems.
Everyone who's kind of passing by them is just looking to survive. No one's trying to just get into this specific box. Desperation, absolute shambles is below them. And they can interact with that too, right? As soon as this zone starts to move, we're going up again. This is unfamiliar, uncharted territory. Might be some old builds under Rift Island, but this is the zone that everyone's gonna have to use mats for once more.
Surprise, surprise, look who it is. Once again, trying to claim height first moving. Clearly after watching back the games yesterday, Cammy and Seti realizing that there was a big gap in this lobby for somebody to play height first moving. And even though this isn't a typical style, they are making things work.
They're gonna put all the pedal to the metal now. They have to get as many points as possible from height for the moment. That might be a shot from them too. Axeforce 1 HP as he tries to move. Yeah, it was Cammy that took out Roban. Axeforce in an absolute shambles position now. But finds a big shot onto goal to just keep it moving.
Doesn't get the chance to go for the loot though, has to focus on zone. And if I was him, maybe I would have gone for it because, yeah, eventually goes down.
Everyone's gonna be just absolutely bombarded down below, and there's so many little bit of layer switches on what natural low ground is. You gotta just keep watching out. Nice team beam from Swizzy and Putrick. Up top on height, Cammy and Seti have to do everything to get as many eliminations right now. They will run out of gas. It's tough for them to drop down and get refreshes. Need to convert on points very early.
One of them has to commit though. One of them will have to go down and look in the zone. Maybe if they have slurps, pop a slurp, run in the zone, get some mats and get back up, because they can't afford what happened last game to happen again.
You saw the pressure from Rift Island though, and what's happened earlier on in these zones. No one really has any mats. Also, beside a generator inside the water, is trying anything he can just to blend in. Inside Malabuka's box, 1 HP free for Malabuka. No Thomaso, but I'm not sure if he needs them this time. The clutch, the drive, the movement from him is looking really good.
Malabuka is so clean when he's in his element, in that flow state. And it looks like he's kicking in right now, wrapping back round into the zone, but there will be players staring up above. You see the height takes come through again. Cammy and Seti, they look like they're losing it all. Swizzy and Putrick have come for what is rightfully theirs, and it looks like they will be able to hold on.
They lead the lobby, now they lead the sky, sitting on top of their throne above everyone else. Basically just one more zone to go here. Seti's still alive though, so he might have lost height, but the game's not totally lost for him just yet.
Yeah, it does have those slurps to play around with. One splash, and the bandages even being popped.
So many solos go in front of him, so all Seti has to do is just wait.
Wait his moment, wait his time, the opportunities will be there. Malabuka running back into the storm, and they might collide at some point. He's wary of height though, he knows there's someone behind him now. He's heard the breacher going off from Seti, but he won't really be able to do much with it.
Yep.
The timing doesn't work in his favor.
Just 1 second to shoot, that's it. The med mist has to be held. Swizzy Putrick now, down below. Kali Fasroki, somewhere around them. Seti gets Malabuka inside the storm. More chances for him to keep moving. Swizzy completely out of gas. Seti might be rolling in from the backside to look for another shot real soon. He's going straight for height. Seti has height. 2 more mats too. Big shot from Kali though, and a return, but not enough for Seti. Kylie holds on at the cost of Fastroki.
And now he just has to finish up the game. But look who he has to do it against. Is Swizzy and Putrick. And they're feeling mighty fine, mighty strong. This game has been so good for them. To even get to this point is just a sign of their dominance. Why they've led the way. But Kylie will do his best to stop it. Takes down one, looking for the other. Big shot to win. No way! Kylie will do it! The 1v2! He should never win in that situation against the leaders of the day. But Kylie is Kylie. He is him. And he wins the game.
From the Clouds, lightning fast decision making. Double edits, blocks, 2 shots off. He made it look perfect. Kylie, what a win.
In his element, making it look easy. It looks like he's fighting in creative or something at the end there. Mantling up, takes down Seti. Says, I'll take that height for free. And then the final 1v2, he had them pincered in. He could see them every step of the way. And they just weren't ready for him, Shayo.
Not at all. I love the block offs too. There's just no chance. And Putrick and Swizzy did everything in that moment to stay in the game. That, I think, that specific game, day 2's game 2 is the definition of survival. No one wanted to go down.
And after a tragic first game for Kylie and for Strokey to come back in game number 2 and win in that kind of fashion, that says a lot about their mentality, their resilience, their heart.
Stylish, fantastic, an absolute flourish there from Kylie. I want to see the reactions of everyone across the world, but specifically 3 people who were on the desk.
Guys, thank you very much. Kylie, if you are putting together a new highlight reel, just put the end of that on loop over and over again. What a finish to game 2, Mini.
Yeah, fantastic finish. Just showing why we should really be looking at this duo. Because, of course, Kylie, what a solo clutch that was. Hitting huge damage shots and just blocking off other damage as well right there at the end. Perfectly played stuff. I mean, you don't often see solos going for height like that, but he did it.
Excitement, confidence, domination is what we saw from Kylie in those last moments. But it's also what led up to that is the key to how he ended up securing that victory royale. Looking for height when it was the perfect moment to strike. And just like that, Kylie continued moving forwards. There's the quick high ground retake, taking a quick shot onto Seti, finishing him off, but was most important was that 1v2 in the end. You should have seen the reactions we had from that clutch. I mean, taking down the leaders of this tournament. Kylie was not showing any nerves.
Mini, supremely confident, but that also requires so much bottle.
It really does. I mean, so many players, when they're in that situation, when you don't have materials, you need to try and find a refresh, they'll look down. They'll look, how can I try and make myself in that sort of low ground section? But he looks up. He looks up at Seti on high ground. He thinks, yes, that's my target. He's a solo. And he takes him out in fine fashion, of course, getting him enough refresh in that end game. He could have even gone even further. I think he dropped a med miss there as well. So there could have even been a longer heal off for him, but he just got it done early, which is great to see.
Who else is looking up? Let's take a look at the standings. I'm predicting that we might see a little bit of movement here.
Ooh.
And Seti and Cammy jumping up 2 spots. Look, you can see again what it means for Kylie and his duo here to rocket up 14 spots to Carter.
Yeah, really good for Kylie and Fastroki now in qualifying range for the Global Championships. But look at the difference between first and second. 466 points versus 356. Over 100-point different, but this is looking incredibly difficult.
Yeah, we spoke about Swizzy and Putrick at the beginning of the show, and they did it first game. They've done it second game as well. They're just keeping on playing the way that they know how to play and the way that is working. I don't see anyone stopping them right now because not only is their Storm Surge mid-game so sound, it's also their end game sticking together, hit to hit. We saw it with Swizzy and Shimoki back in the day as well, but now Swizzy and Putrick, they're carrying on that momentum, they're carrying on that end game prowess, and I love to see it.
You can see them actually taking out Cammy and Seti on the high ground. It seems like the roles have been reversed here, seeing Cammy and Seti up above and Swizzy Putrick kind of with a similar play style to what we'd see from Cammy and Seti with the same amount of consistency. I mean, from game 7 to game 8 to being first place after day 1 grand finals here on EU, this duo is just looking unstoppable.
Do you think we're seeing more teams here after yesterday's play? They think, you know what, the high ground is up for grabs?
Yeah, I think so. I think there's a lot more turnover of that. I think we're seeing teams that are looking up, you know, Seti and Cammy, of course, being one of them. And even Thomas and Malibuga having a really, really solid game right there. Look at that, jumping up 15
We said where were they?
Now they're
right,
here.
They're right back. Let's take a look at them in action.
We found him. Here we can see Malibuga. We actually saw him clutching up in the last moment as well, but how did he get there with that legendary Mammoth pistol, taking those shots, hitting the shots needed to find those eliminations, find those refreshes, but also staying along Thomas HV, the dynamic duo continuing strong.
Yeah, Levin talked about it earlier as well. We haven't really seen too much when it comes to fighting from this duo in day one. Now they seem to be getting that confidence back. They seem to be getting a bit more stride in their step. I like it. This is exactly what we like to see from Malabuka. Of course, clutching up right there at the end. Huge elimination points, this duo. And it's been a little bit tough for them recently. They haven't been able to make it to these end games. So we haven't been able to see what they can do. They've had a lot of unlucky zone pulls. I know Malabuka's talked about that a lot. And once they do get zone, once they do get a few things going their way, they can pick up those refreshes. They're the results.
Guys, you do realize that this is my first weekend on FNCS, and they've given me so much power. Are you aware of this?
Yeah.
I'm about to do it.
Maybe too much. Maybe too much power.
I'm going to do it.
You gonna do it?
I'm going to do it.
All
Do
right,
it.
Do it.
It's time for Storm Surge.
He loves it too much, I think.
I think he likes it a little too much.
Yeah, he does.
Gets better every time. Obviously, Storm Surge is a massive part of any Fortnite competitive game. That was the case once again here. Let's take a look at how Thomas HD and Malabuka are dealing with it.
Yeah, I just spoke about them not being able to make as many end games, and that's because of their Storm Surge. They haven't actually been doing that good on the Storm Surge front of things, but this game was very, very different. We saw them in the end game popping off, but of course, let's highlight a little bit earlier on. Their drop spot, of course, right here at the racetrack. It's a very, very difficult spot to get Surge from because, as you can see, there's not too many teams rotating all the way through. It's a very, very sort of open area, and you don't get many teams there.
Right, but luckily enough, they were able to find some quick eliminations off the spawn here by the racetrack, but that's not enough. They had trouble in the last match getting that Storm Surge, so luckily enough, the Rift Island did appear right on top of them, and they decided to quickly get a Rift, land on top of that Rift Island, and play a little bit more aggressive for Storm Surge, and it actually paid off as they ended up getting the loot from the capture point here, and even you can see a good amount of tags.
Yeah, we saw them doing this a lot at the beginning of the season, right the way in week number 1, and it didn't really work out too well for them. They were a little bit inconsistent, but why not? They're at this stage of the tournament right now. Their Storm Surge is not looking too great, so they're fixing it by going up to this Rift Island. You can guarantee that teams are going to be up there, and you can also guarantee that teams are going to be rotating down below, and we see that with Thomas HD with that dangerous Mammoth pistol aim. I mean, I wouldn't want to be rotating below.
Yeah, and we see Takata, despite being nerfed a good chunk, right? It's still lighting them up, isn't it?
I mean, there's a reason almost every duo has the Mammoth pistol in their inventory, especially in the early mid game and even the late game. I mean, they've always got it.
It's fun to watch, though, isn't it? I think
Yeah,
it's been a
great.
different dynamic, hasn't it? But as a viewer, it's great.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I love the island fights. I think Thomas Malabuka thought, right, we need Surge. We need to try and find players. Where are players going to be? It's the Rift Island. They're like bees around honey, and it's great.
Yeah. Do you think that this time round, are we going to see Thomas HD, now they've found their feet, are they going to continue and start to go, hey, guys, we're back?
Look, they're going to keep playing aggressive. They got that little light bulb above their head with the Rift Island appearing on top of them, but I know that, they might try and continue that aggression going forward in these next matches, and we know how confident they can be as a duo, so I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to get to endgame.
One thing I'm learning here is that Fortnite moves fast. You are, of course, watching the FNCS EU Major 3 Grand Finals, and it is now time for game number 9. Yeah.